do we know these people had vibrant societies?
We know these people had vibrant societies because they have a community, a culture. What makes up their culture is a celebration and feast. Another is a healthy, supportive, and rich environment for all.
How were their communities similar to ours?
They have similar foods like corn, fish, beef, and beans. Their governments are similar in some ways. We still do some of the stuff they did back then. Back then, they gave their community. The governments gave their communities their wants and needs. We still do that today.
How were these tribes alike, and how were they different?
These tribes are alike because they have some of the same foods. They are different because some of them have different homes. They lived in longhouses, wigwams, and teepees.
What were some of the Native American natural resources used by tribes of the Northeast, Southeast, Northwest, Southwest, Midwest, West, and Arctic?
Some of the natural resources in the West are buffalo, bison, deer, and elk. Some others are berries and nuts for food. Some of the natural resources of the Midwest are bison, deer, antelope, bear, crops such as pumpkins, beans, and squash. Some of the natural resources of the Arctic are ice fishing, regular fishing, and they live in igloos.
What were the governments of the tribes like?
The governments of the tribes are to provide safety and security for those in the community from threats.
Similar Native Americans innovations that still influence us today.
They hunted deer, they used different materials, they fished, they grew crops, they built sheds, and they cut trees for shelter. Their governments are like in some ways. It is similar to some of ours. Back then, they gave their communities their wants and needs.
How did European exploration affect the Native Americans?
European exploration affected the Native Americans because the explorer would go to war with the Native Americans, and then they would go to their land and take it from them and use it by the Europeans.